Of the unwanted statistics is that is now 5 defeats in 22 days in all competitions for United and their manager. Here he is, Ruben Amorim.
Ruben, was that a step backwards for your team today?
Of course, when we lose, when we don't win, is a step back. But it was really hard with the send-off. The goal was similar against Tottenham, and then we tried it even with the last one guy. We tried to. I think we were near of something more than Wolves of scoring the second one, and then in the end we tried everything, and then a transition was 2-0. But for us, let's continue.
Yeah, the first goal, obviously, it's another set piece. It's another goal direct from a corner. Is it particularly disappointing to concede this goal when you've only conceded the same goal a week ago?
Yeah, against Tottenham, yes, the same. Onana cannot go to the ball, I think.
You think it's a foul?
I think he cannot go to the ball. So he's trying to reach the ball, and some guys are not even looking to the ball. But I don't want to focus on that. I think we were. The good thing is we were near the goal, even with 10 men. That is a good thing. But we lost, and we continued our job.
What did you think of the red card for Bruno Fernandes? Did he need to be more careful with his challenge, considering he was on the booking already?
Yeah, of course, we have to. It's so tough to win games in this league with 10 men, with the 11 men. With 10 men, it's more difficult. So we have to focus.
Now for the game at home to Newcastle on the 30th. Do you think, looking from the outside at Sporting Lisbon, he saw a challenge, and now from the inside, he thinks that challenge is a lot bigger than perhaps he perceived from the outside?
Yeah, definitely. I think the only saving grace is they've got a really good manager there, and he's a brilliant communicator. But it's going to be a lot harder than I think he thought. I think he would have gone home, and he wouldn't have said this probably to us, but I think he would have said to his Portuguese staff when they were having a glass of wine back after the Ipswich game, this is going to be a lot harder. You know, because everybody give you a game. Look, Ipswich, they give you a game like that. Wolves give you a game like that, and then all of a sudden the top team. So they're going to have to give him time, as Mo said. He's a great manager, but I think personnel-wise, they don't have what he needs at the moment.
And do you think there's going to be a lot of painful days like today, given the fact that essentially is going to be the group of players we think until May?
Yeah, I mean, 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, 2-0 away to, being beat 5-0 on aggregate and against
Five defeats in 22
and
days.
Bournemouth. I mean, it can't get much more painful for Manchester United fans, can it? So, yeah, there could be more painful days ahead. And what Manchester United fans need to see is progress. Getting beat is one thing, but getting beat like that is that's not progress. You can't have a wasted game. Even if you get beat,
You've got to learn something.
You've got to learn something. There can never be a wasted game. And Bournemouth and Wolves, the last two games, I don't think he will have learned anything apart from, I've got a moderate bunch of players at the moment. That's it.
OK, much more reaction to come of their new manager, Vito Pereira. So this Boxing Day got underway with more drop points for the champions. Manchester City, one win in 13 games. Pegged back to 1-1 at home to Everton. 0-0 between Bournemouth and Chelsea. Fulham left it late, but they beat Chelsea in the Premier League era at Stamford Bridge for the first time, having been 1 down. Newcastle beating 10-men Villa by 3-0. Nottingham Forest continue on this incredible run. They've won 4 in a row now in the Premier League, beating Spurs by 1-0. Ivan Juric's first game in charge of Southampton ended in defeat for the bottom club, 1-0 at home to West Ham, courtesy of a Jarrod Bowen goal. And 2-0 Wolves, we've watched beat Manchester United. Next up, the leaders face Leicester, and then, of course, those 2 games on Friday, including Arsenal at home to Ipswich. So, with Chelsea losing, what an incentive next for Liverpool. They can win and go 7 points clear with a game in hand, which of course is the rearranged Merseyside derby. But as you can see, just 5 points off the leaders are Nottingham Forest in 3rd before Arsenal play tomorrow. Newcastle are up to 5th. Manchester City down to 7th. Manchester United already had dropped to 14th before a ball was kicked. That was because West Ham went above them. They remain on 22 points. Wolves, as I say, up to 15th. That means they are out of the drop zone for just the second time all season. It also means the Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester will kick off at Anfield shortly in the drop zone, just above Ipswich and the bottom club Southampton, who are 9 points from safety. So much to discuss with Michael and Owen, and all of the reaction to come from Molineux as Wolves wank. And of course, he scored one direct from a corner. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But first of all, Manchester United were down to 10 men by that stage. 2 yellow cards for their captain, Bruno Fernandes. Owen, and when you look at the 2 bookings in isolation, he can't have any complaints, can he?
No, he definitely can't. I mean, he's obviously pleading with the referee there, but Cunha was obviously the star player. You know, there he stops him, pulls him down. And this one, I mean, come on.
When you're on a yellow.
I know he cares, and he's the one that, you know, he tries to galvanise the team, but he's Man United's best player. Look, he's like, Dan is like, that's the easiest yellow ever. They need him out there. They need him creating chances. If he's not playing, they don't look like scoring. Losing him just, you know, that was the game for them.
Andre Onana, a little upset with the way he conceded and he felt was fouled from the corner. Any case whatsoever here for the United goalkeeper?
Well, we've looked at it carefully and closely. I actually think, I mean, he's sandwiched basically, isn't he? He's sandwiched, but there's nobody fouling him. He's just getting his path blocked. And it's actually Ugarte who pushes his marker into the path. Bueno actually gets pushed into the path of Onana. So it's actually Manchester. Look at Ugarte pushing him into that area. And then once it goes over his head and he's trying to backpedal, then his path is blocked. So no, I think it's correct to give it. It is an area that's creating a little bit of noise at the moment.
There you go. There they are, the second most in the division. And people will say, well, not all of those are Ruben Amorim. Well, let me tell you, 6 of them are in the last 5 games alone under the new Manchester United manager, who does have a set-piece coach. So is that an area of concern that they need to fix quickly?
Among the other ones. That's the problem.
How long's this list?
Well, I don't know. How long have you got? That's the problem. You've got too many issues that you got to fix. You know, goal scoring was a big issue. That's why Amorim came in, because he plays this beautiful attacking football. You don't score, now all of a sudden set pieces is a big issue. I look at United team, I don't see any partnerships. Every great team I've ever watched, I could tell you who's going to play in defence, midfield and attack. Every team. Don't care whether it was Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, City. You watch United now, you don't know who's going to play. So I think in terms of having a bit of consistency, goal scoring was a thing. Now it's the conceding goals from set pieces. Like there's a lot of issues. The star players are 2 stars in a way. Marcus and Gaston's not barely even in the team anymore. So there's a lot of issues. I know it's going to be some short-term pain, like Ruben said before, to get to where they want to get. But there's still, right now, there's a long season, and they've got to find a way to get more than they're getting out of what they got right now, in my opinion.
And, of course, they were pressing the 10 men to try and find an equaliser, and then got caught.
Yeah, I mean, this is understandable. Last sort of 5-10 minutes, you are pressing, and Garnacho loses the ball there, and it's what I mean. Martinez is stuck up the pitch. I mean, he shouldn't necessarily be so easy for them, but it is. But as you said, that's literally the last kick of the game. Martinez, as you see here, he's probably 5 yards out of position. It's just one long pass, and all of a sudden they're in. But I don't necessarily blame Manchester United for conceding that goal. I mean, it's the previous 98 minutes that there was the problem. When you're chasing the game, that can happen. So it was, but there was, as Owen says, there's such a big list of things that are going wrong at the moment. And defensively they look okay, but they don't look dangerous at all going forward.
For Liverpool, that game is kicking off at 3 p.m. Eastern, so just over half an hour. Robbie, when you look at that match, and of course it's massive congratulations to Vitor Pereira, but I want to start by asking you about the Bruno Fernandes sending off and the change that made at 0-0.
It made all the difference to the game. The game was pretty even before that. We talked about that at half-time. That's 3 reds this year, though one was rescinded, I think
after Tottenham,
after Tottenham game. That's really bad, really unprofessional. As a captain of the football club, not even being a captain, for any experienced player to do that is inexcusable. If you can't control your emotions, and we've seen this before from Bruno Fernandes, and I've been one of his biggest fans and I know he's a little bit like that, but he's a brilliant player. Today, I don't know, I just felt that was a really bad example of petulance, unnecessary, twice. We're going to take a look at them in the highlights, but two over-aggressive challenges in the referee's face, 2 yellow cards. You've absolutely cost your team and your club everything today.
Having said that, they barely had a look with him or without him.
They didn't, but it's disappointing for us, Rebecca. It must be even more disappointing for Ruben Amorim that he doesn't quite know this team, and it's another 90 minutes when we haven't learnt anything because they got down to 10 men and they've had to struggle to stay in the game. But there's no creativity. I said at half-time I wasn't sure they were particularly playing the ball and building as well as maybe Musty thought. We've had no real shots or danger at goal. And the really funny thing is, last week all the news was about mice infestation at the football club and a leaky ceiling in the press room. Those are things you can deal with, get somebody in. I tell you, the problems they've got on the pitch, that's a bigger job and a lot more serious trouble for Ruben Amorim to sort out.
Big job, you'd have to say, for Wolverhampton Wanderers' new manager, Vitor Pereira, making light work.
Absolutely amazing. I bet he's loving it. He's like, this is great, this league. I mean, back-to-back wins in a very difficult situation. Remember a few weeks ago, Rebecca, we saw the players fighting and Cunha, the scenes and the manager, the whole vibe has changed, and that's what a new manager can sometimes do. The structure was good, the football was good. I think he's saying what he's doing, what he's saying, where he's trying to play expansive football. Got a big help today, though, with an extra man at home when there's a good vibe about this first game where they won. That makes all the difference. They're at the bottom 3. Feel-good factor was back in Molineux. That was good work from Pereira.
2 wins out of 2. The epitome of a new manager.
We're expecting a slightly better standard of game.
That was your fault, Steve. You predicted goals. I was trying to be optimistic.
Was it? You're ganging up on me.
You promised goals, we didn't.
I think you both agreed with me. There wouldn't be 0-0.
We were hoping, Steve. But to be fair, you can understand from a Wolves perspective, new manager, first game at home. But actually, I thought they played pretty well. Cunha showed that he's probably the best player out there. The Manchester United offensively, they have more of the ball, but they don't look like scoring from open play.
They had one real effort that we've dug out. Diogo Dalot forcing a save out of Jose Sarr.
Play. Look at all the players. Harry Maguire, you see them in shot. They're all quite high. But in the end, Dalot's a really good player, but you want that ball to fall to your Brunos or your Amads, really. I mean, I think it's quite an easy save from Sarr, but, you want that most to fall to the guys that can actually score a ton of goals, really, not your defenders.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a couple of shots, Dalot, from outside the box. That was the better of the two. Exactly that. I mean, you want your best players on the ball in those situations. I mean, I've sat here and watched Højlund all first half, and I mean, I don't know what I'd do if I was him. I mean, it must be the hardest position to play in the Premier League at the moment. Centre forward for Manchester United. It was always everybody's dream to be a centre forward for Manchester United because you get so many chances, it's impossible not to score 20-odd goals. He had 6 passes to him in that first half, 4 of them by defenders. I mean, it's the hardest position at the moment. And whether it's him, whether it's the team, whether it's how it's all, I mean, I try to give the benefit of the doubt to Højlund. I mean, the team is just not functioning well enough to get him any service whatsoever. He's been there over a year now, over a season. I still don't know. When I'm assessing players, I think I can assess players within a month or so. You've watched them a few times. I still don't know whether he's any good or not. I'm watching him times. I still don't know whether he's any good or not. I'm watching him and think, well, I can't judge him on that. He only gets a pass. I can't judge him at all. I mean, he could be the world's best player for all I know. He's not going to show it in this Manchester United team at the moment.
United have played 18 games this season. That's 13 times they've not scored in the first half of a game, which is astonishing. Wolves' centre forward, Strand Larsen, had an opportunity when he got above Maguire.
Yeah, and he heads it down. He gives, Onana a little bit of a problem because he heads it down, but it's not quite what he wanted. He gets up early. Obviously, the earlier you get up, the harder it is for someone like Harry Maguire to jump into you. See, if he tries to jump, he's jumping from a position underneath you. So he does well from that point of view. But and he wants that. He wants crosses. Sure, this takes actually a bit of a deflection, but I mean, what's that? It's about 35 yards out.
We've got the full-back long-distance competition, haven't we?
Exactly, yeah. We're really scraping the barrel here, Steve, to show anything of any note. I mean, that's a 35-yard shot with a deflection.
One individual you touched upon before the game has impressed you, Matthias Cunha, who's still the club record signing for Wolves. He did cost 44 million, but he's the real shining light in this team. 9 Premier League goals already this season.
Well, he'll cost double that. You know, he's a player. Watch this little turn, by the way. Look how many bodies got it around him. Whoop, see you later. This kid is a player. Really, really good. Smart. Like you said, 9 goals. Watch this. Little shimmy, whoop, little step, and then switch of play. Could play anywhere. Could play wide, could play as a 10, can play as a false 9. And I think he's been one of the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, if Wolves are going to spend upwards of 40 million on a player, then they're going to have to be very, very sure. And they've got a good player here, obviously. It's a good investment. If they went to sell him tomorrow, it'd be worth it.
Well, that's the worry, isn't it?
It'd be worth 60 to 80, wouldn't he? He's a top player, scores a lot of goals, and he's their danger man.
Yeah, and that is the worry for Wolves fans at